Hello and welcome once again to the DPod from the DPad. My name is Nick. I am your host today for our first ever live DPod. We are currently streaming on twitch.tv, and we're also doing an audio podcast for all of our normal listeners. So in case you're trying to figure out what the hell's going on, we decided to also do a videocast in addition to the podcast. So we'll be showing all sorts of little video clips as we talk today. And hopefully it won't crash and burn and everything will be hunky-dory, but we figured we'd give it a shot. And anyway, after we tape all this, it'll be up on our webpage from thedpad.com. So if you happen to miss the live videocast, you can always catch it later, but we are going to try and send out this videocast at 2 p.m. Eastern Time every Saturday. So if you listen to this podcast when it is normally released on Monday and you're available on Saturdays, feel free to come join us at our Twitch page at twitch.tv/fromthedpad, and we will be doing this live every week. So hopefully this kicks off a new era of awesomeness for this awesome, kick-ass, slightly awkward podcast. So there you go. Let me introduce my fellow people. We also have Sharon with us, as always. Hi, Sharon.
Hello. How are you today, Nick?
Oh, I am fantastic.
Excitement in the air. It's electric.
It's very electric, yes. We also have Nick with us. Hi, Nick.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
We have no Jeremy with us this week.
Well.
Apparently he's gone this week. He's also gone next week, which is too bad. He's got real life human stuff to do.
But he is a regular DPodder, so.
Yes. So we're sad that he can't join us for this monumentous occasion. But such is life. How's everybody's week going?
Good.
No
Good.
Major issues? It's raining here today.
It is.
It
seems to rain every 15 or 20 minutes, actually.
I don't really know what's going on with that. Like, before you got here, it was sunny and nice every day, and now it's rain. I don't know. But, now that it's raining, we get to stay inside and play video games. There's only one problem, because nothing ever seems to come out for video games.
Oh, that's not true. That's just you. I think you just don't like too many different kinds of video games.
I had a lot of trouble this week. I found myself, really trying hard to find something to play. And Sharon, you suggested that I am, basically a crotchety old man.
I suggested that you might be showing tendencies in that direction. I don't think I blatantly called you a crotchety old man.
I don't like anything anymore.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's like, why don't you eat your gruel? I don't like gruel.
Why don't you play this game? Oh, man. What about this game? No.
I'm going to go mow the lawn again.
Oh.
I really like that game.
I mean, you do like video games, but...
Yeah, I know.
Your tastes are changing. And
we're in that period of time, that May window. We, when we were doing this podcast last year around this time, we kept finding ourselves in major issues because we couldn't figure out what the hell to play. Because E3 comes around and everyone stops releasing things.
Yeah.
Everyone's gearing up for their holiday launches. Steam is holding back all their sale stuff so they can, pimp it all at once in 2 months. So I feel like we kind of end up in this big old rut.
Well, I don't feel the same pessimism as you do, but...
well, we'll see.
But what did you find to play? What are you playing?
I don't know. So, we're going to switch here to our now playing.
So
what are you playing, Nick? You seem to be playing a whole bunch of stuff, so we should probably start with you.
Okay. Well, I was going to say before, is it that your tastes are changing, or that they're staying the same and video games are changing?
Ah.
Yes.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. Is the answer to that. I think in general, just I really haven't found a whole lot that I like that's in the new genre stuff. I don't know. Like the fact that I couldn't even really get into Bioshock Infinite should be telling, but
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see. I can be turned. There was a point in time where I was open to a lot more things. So maybe I'm just getting old.
Well, I played some new games this week.
What did you play this week?
I played, well, the newest of the new games. I played Metro Last Light.
Metro Last Light.
Now, did you play Metro 2033?
I did. I don't think I ever finished it.
Okay. That's a game I purchased but didn't actually play, so...
Yeah. I remember playing it and enjoying it, but I don't remember what the end is. So I don't think I finished it.
Does this game take place like directly after the previous one finished? Or do you? If you don't remember, I guess you can't answer that.
I don't remember. I mean, it does take place like, you know, it has to be pretty close after because you're playing the same character in the same environment, and they talk about stuff that happened in the first one a lot, so it can't be like years later or something.
Right.
But, you know, I don't know if it's like moments later either at the same time, you know what I mean?
Can you kind of set this game up for me a little bit? I guess I know it's very Russian.
Yes.
That's about all I've taken away from previous encounters with this particular series, is that it's very Russian.
It's made by Ukrainian developers.
Well, that's not Russian at all.
Well, I mean, they speak the same language, I think.
I am from Ukraine. I take you're born in Samash. Oh, sorry. That's Seinfeld moment there.
Yeah, it's a first-person shooter, as you can see. It's it's a pretty linear first-person shooter. It's very linear, very scripted. In a lot of ways, at least in the beginning. I've played about 3 hours of it, and it's really pretty on a technical level, at least, especially on the PC, which is where I'm playing it.
Okay, yeah.
It's they've improved the shooting from the first one. The shooting is a lot more satisfying this time.
And is it super stealthy, or is it more, you know...
Yes.
Okay.
I haven't been super playing it stealthy, but it has stealth elements in it. So far, I've been, like, stealthily... Basically, whenever I get into a new encounter in this game, I stealth up to the first couple of guys and then get impatient and then lob a grenade in between a bunch. And then... run around blasting everyone with my shotgun.
I mean, it looks like fairly standard fare as far as first-person shooters go.
Yeah, I mean, it's got all the stuff you expect: regenerating health, iron sights, all that
love
kind of
regenerating
stuff.
health, like in real life. Do you guys?
I think you kind of have it to a degree, don't you?
Do you guys remember what the?
Well, everyone does, just to a really slow degree.
Yeah. Do you guys remember the first time you guys ever encountered a video game with regenerating health?
Oh God, no! The first time.
Well, Halo.
Was it?
Really?
Was that was the first game you ever played with regenerating health, and you're like, whoa, my health just comes back automatically?
Well, I mean, it was different in Halo because Halo was, you know, it was your shields that regenerated. You had shields and health.
Right.
I guess really it was Call of Duty 2 that was the first one that I played with straight up health regeneration.
I'm trying to think. I know when I was during the PS2 era, one of my friends at the time was playing The Getaway, which is not even a first-person shooter. It's a third-person action game. And, you lean up against walls, and you recover from multiple bullet wounds. It's pretty realistic.
Well, but it required. I never played that game, but it required the action of leaning up against the wall.
Yeah, it basically required the action of standing still.
Oh, okay. Well, that's kind of cool.
I remember at the time feeling like it was pretty silly.
Well, sure. I mean, it's still silly, honestly. I read a pretty great... I followed Jonathan Blow on Twitter, and he had a pretty great little rant about regenerating health a little while ago. And he made the point that it makes things exciting over a really short term, but really kills any long-term excitement.
Really?
Because it makes the whole game about surviving individual individual moments instead of it takes all the tension out of long-term survival in a game.
Yeah, especially if you end up in one of those situations where it's like, oh my god, I have 15 pieces of health left, and I have to get all the way to the other side of this level before I find some way of recovering.
I don't know. I think that possibly it also breaks down what could be a very overwhelming long-term task. Because you can segment it and say, okay, well, as long as I make it here, I know I'll regenerate, then I can, make it to the next barricade. Because for someone like me who's not really great at video games, but the idea of having one health through the entire game is a little overwhelming.
Sure. Well, I didn't bring that up, and I don't think Jonathan Blow is definitely presenting it as this is a worse way to do it, but I disagree with that. I think it's just different. I think it's just a different way to do it.
Yeah.
And it's just, if that's what you're going for, awesome. But I'm afraid it's become one of those things that it's just, well, this is how video games are now, so we're just all going to do this.
Right.
Instead of using it as a specific mechanic to achieve a specific goal in your game design. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of am not liking Metro 2033 so far. It's really heavily scripted.
So
except for
every time you get to fights, it's just like, hey, this guy jumps out of the window and attacks you with a knife.
Yeah, kinda. I mean, I don't know. It's not that bad. It's more open-ish. Well, I mean, it's not open ever. It's a very linear game all the way through. But there are larger set pieces that I encountered in the beginning, and then it seemed to get like basically nothing but a series of like shoot 4 guys cutscene, shoot 3 guys. The game takes control away from your character so it can force you to crawl through this window. Shoot 2 more guys, stab a guy, and then cutscene. It's like, yeah.
So they're trying to make it more cinematic, but it sounds like it's like
losing
invasive. Invasive to the gameplay.
Yeah, and there's a lot of scenes where you're like crawling through an area and it's like, well, it's not quite a cutscene and they didn't take control away from you, but all you're doing is pushing W.
Right.
And your dude is moving through the cutscene, or moving through the tunnel automatically. And, yeah, I mean, I've been told it gets a lot better.
Maybe you need to finish it.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to stick with it. There's also some other weird, narrative design weirdness. Like, you pick up, this game has, like logs, like text logs in it. You pick up these little documents, and it fills in a little piece of story and stuff. But in this game, the text logs you find are all written by the character you're playing.
What? So you're finding your own
diaries?
You're finding your own logs.
Oh,
yeah, you're finding your own diary.
That's where I dropped my personal diary.
So it's really bizarre. And also there's mild spoilers, I guess. There's a relatively early on, there's somewhat of a twist, and there's a interrogation scene where your character is being interrogated, but your character is a silent protagonist, so I don't know what they expect to get out of it.
That's actually pretty awesome.
But they're
talk now. Sorry.
Oh, that's pretty damn funny.
There is also some really great little like immersive elements in the game, like the you have your flashlight, and your flashlight has like a little pneumatic pump for the battery. So when your flashlight battery runs down, you have to actually bring up a thing and hit the button over and over again to pump the meter back up to get your flashlight back up to full strength. which is kind of cool. That can be really tense when that happens in a firefight in a dark area. You got to duck around the corner, and
they all look like dark areas.
Yeah, it's a very dark game. I guess I should say also, I didn't really say this before, but it takes place in, it's a post-apocalyptic setting, you know, video games. But they don't ever talk about the apocalypse. It's just, there was a war, and now everyone lives in the subway tunnels under Russia.
Oh, duh.
Yeah, which is why it's called Metro, you know. And there's different factions down there. There's you know, straight up communists, Reds, people trying to bring back communism, and but they have a philosophy behind it. It's kind of cool, you know. There's a little monologue where it's like, this is survival now. Everyone has to work together and all that kind of stuff.
Everyone has to work together to shoot other people.
Yeah, pretty much. Another cool little touch in the immersion is you have when you go to the surface, you have to put on a gas mask.
Oh.
And you have to manage your filters on the gas mask, and there's a little timer on your watch, which is another kind of cool thing. It's like, you know, it just builds tension where, oh geez, this is a tense situation, but holy shit, I'm running out of gas mask filter. I need to hide for a second away from these monsters so I can change this.
It's the modern equivalent of the water stage.
I guess
that might be a bit of a generalization.
I don't know where we're going with that. Really?
If you run out of air, you die. You get like the like the Sonic the Hedgehog music.
Sure.
You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about. Everyone knows what I'm talking about because they can't sleep because of it. I go to bed every night, you know, and it's like, oh god, Sonic drowning music.
Boop whoop. It's cool, you can breathe now.
Here, and all I can think of is the scene in 12 Monkeys where he comes up to the surface and gets attacked by a bear or whatever.
Yes, totally. I thought the exact same thing also with both the first Metro and this one.
Yeah.
It totally reminds me of 12 Monkeys.
Which is not a bad thing.
That's an okay thing to evoke. But one last little cool immersive thing that I really dig is when you have the gas mask on and you, like, for example, shoot some kind of mutated monster at point blank range with a shotgun, it'll get splattered with blood and you can't see anything. And you have to hit a button to have your character wipe the gas mask off.
That's funny.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's gross, but it's cool.
Can you see, like, your reflected eyes in the blood?
No.
Felt like that was a great touch in Metroid Prime.
Yeah, totally. No, they don't go that far with it, but...
Well, very cool.
Yeah, so that's Metro Last Light so far.
That's cool. I might see if the first game is super cheap now, and maybe...
Well, I have it. You could play my copy.
Oh, okay.
I bought it because I thought it looked like something I would really dig, and then I just never played it.
Sounds familiar.
The first game is good. It's a little janky by comparison.
Okay.
There's some problems with the shooting, just feels a little weird sometimes. But in some ways, I think I like the first one a little better because it's almost a little more punk rock in a way.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like it's just sort of this very small Ukrainian dev team just really wanted to make this game, and some bits of it don't quite work.
Right.
But it's got so much heart that it doesn't matter. Whereas this one is polished a lot more, and loses a little bit of that sort of scrappiness. You know what I mean?
Threw them a lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it was...
Money ruins everything!
Oh, that's not true.
It does. Money ruins everything.
Oh. So what else have you been playing?
I have also been playing... The other new game I've been playing is Zeno Clash 2.
Ah.
Which wasn't new this week, but was new... I think I mentioned it last podcast, or maybe 2 ago.
You're definitely going to have to set up this game a little bit, because I'll be honest, I don't know anything about Zeno Clash.
So I love the first Zeno Clash a lot. It's a flawed game, but still probably amongst my favorite games of all time.
Okay.
I'm watching a video, all I see is a dude punching everything.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's a first-person puncher.
Really?
It's a first-person brawler.
That's funny.
And it's a first-person brawler that at least for me personally, works perfectly for me.
Mm-hmm.
I think the other people have had issues with it, from what I understand. But for me personally, I have not seen better first-person melee outside of Zeno Clash.
I do not know what to make of this game at all.
So the reason I love it so much, and this gets back to what I was talking about a little, what I keep talking about on this podcast, is tone and context and all that kind of stuff. These games are weird as balls, and that's kind of why I love them.
Who develops this?
It's developed by Ace Team, which is a developer out of Chile, I believe.
Oh.
Chile? I didn't realize anyone was actually currently living in Chile.
Yep.
There are actually people in Chile right now.
Quite a few, actually.
The other game that they've made besides Zeno Clash 1 is Rock of Ages.
Oh yeah.
That game about rolling a boulder. Yeah.
And crushing as many things as you can.
Right. Which was also a very weird game. So I just
Chileans, their sense of humor.
I really love the artistry in their games. There really is nothing else like an Ace Team game. Both Zeno Clash and Rock of Ages. There's so much creativity going on in the visuals that, like, again, both of these games and Rock of Ages also, they're a little rough. They're a little rough around the edges, but for me, it still works because of its, scrappy, like, heart nature. Does that make sense?
I guess, yeah.
It's like a good punk rock album, It's like the recording isn't very good. Their tempo may be a little off here and there, and they should probably practice a little more. But
gosh darn it, they've got spunk.
Yeah,
and if they don't put everything they have into it.
Right, yeah. But there's also some, not just the visuals, there's also some really great creative mechanics in this game. Like there's this weapon that you get fairly early on that will link two things together. And if you damage one thing, the other thing takes damage.
Cool.
So the obvious use for that is you link two enemies together and then you beat up one of them and kill both of them. But there's a really sweet boss fight that I was playing last night where there's this ridiculously giant, like really insane, like cobbled together looking thing roaming around just lobbing bombs at you, and you can't hurt it at all just by running up and punching its legs, but it has these like little crystal ball weak points, and then there's other crystal balls around the area, so you link the two and then you punch the one that you can reach and it ends up hurting the boss.
So it becomes a strategy.
Yeah.
Or a puzzle even.
Right, yeah. It's yeah, and that was really surprising and really fun. Like, I didn't expect anything
for a game
like
that you're saying is basically just a dude punching things, then to have all like these deep puzzle elements, that sounds pretty deep.
Yeah, it's really good. They did a good job with this game. It is, this one, especially compared to the first one, is a little slow to start. And there's a lot more cutscenes in this one, which I'm not sure is for the better.
Do you think the money is ruining it again?
Well, I don't know, because maybe? I mean, the first one, I think they self-published. This one was published by Atlas.
Man, the Zeno Clash series was so much better when they were broke, man.
Well, no, it could be a matter of trying to tell too much story, right?
Yeah, but also I've heard, I haven't gotten there myself, but I've heard this one goes some places.
I don't know what that means.
Atlas means.
Yeah, I've heard this one goes in some really surprising, possibly headache-inducing directions.
So are we getting on like a metaphysical type?
Yeah, I guess from what I've heard. I mean, I've only heard like vague allusions to that without spoilers. But
It's going straight up anime.
I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to finishing it and finding out.
What's the price on this game?
$20.
$20?
I think.
$20 is not bad.
The first one, I want to say was 50. No, the first one's 10. Yeah, this one's $20.
Okay, that is passable. Like,
it meets your standards. It meets your high definition of price standards.
Think about like for 6 years we were paying $60 for everything. Like it's a buyer's market in video games these days. $20.
And I mean, there's a lot of game here. I mean, not a lot, but it's about. It seems like the length of it is definitely going to be on par for your average modern action game. Probably 8 to 10 hours.
Mm-hmm.
That's more than enough. I do not want more of that anymore.
Yeah.
I feel like there was a time and place where you would hear me complain about only getting 10 hours, and now I think that's okay.
Yeah.
That's all I want.
The character designs in this game, so fantastic. I love all the visuals. It's okay. I can't really do anything else other than gush about how amazing this game looks.
That's a glowing review. Everyone go buy Zeno Clash. I'll go buy the first one, and then we can go gush about it together.
Aww.
Okay. I hope you like it though, because I don't know. It's hard for me to recommend it because it is so
specific.
Punk rock and specific.
It's a first-person melee game. I think that pretty much says it all.
But it's not just a first-person melee game. It's a first-person melee game that is... It's really bizarre. It very much... It reminds me a lot of... I'm going to show my nerd artness here for a second, but it very much reminds me of French surrealism.
Oh.
If anyone's ever read anything by, read any comic books by Mobius...
This podcast just took a very dark turn.
Oh, come on.
Mobius is a really amazing French comic book artist. Go look him up if you haven't ever. And a lot of the stuff in this game reminds me a lot of something Mobius would come up with.
Anything else going on out there?
The last game I've been playing this week is Persona 4.
I think you mentioned this last week as well.
Did I?
No, I don't think so.
Maybe not?
I think it was in between.
Yeah, I started playing it.
Or it could have been those tweets about looking into the Midnight Channel.
Yeah, I was tweeting about it a lot this week. I love this game. I never finished it, actually.
It's probably worth noting. This game is a commitment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to be ready to play you some Persona, because
the last time I played it was years ago, so I kind of forgot all of the story in the meantime, so I had to start it over.
That's rough.
Yeah. So, I've been playing Persona 4 again, and I will probably continue to do so for the next 6 months.
Yes, like my ventures into Persona 3, which have not ended yet.
Yeah, I mean, you're basically looking at 100 hours. Somewhere around there. I know when I did Persona 3, it was 96.
Wow.
Man.
Yeah.
I think this one is a little quicker than 3. Definitely the story is tighter than what I remember of 3. The story is a lot more direct, I think, in a lot of ways. Does that make sense?
I think so, yeah. I think Persona 3 kind of... It does your typical anime beat around the bush without ever answering any questions type thing. Which drives me insane.
Yeah.
Persona 4 is not like that. Obviously, it won't ruin the ending, but like things happen and things conclude. Like there is a very discernible conclusion to Persona 4, which is very un-anime in its storytelling.
It doesn't end with a giant question mark in the middle of the screen.
It doesn't end with like a metaphysical question about your existence.
Right.
That's probably like Persona 3 kind of ends on that note a little bit. Not to ruin that game for you, because I mean that's such a general comment. You can't get anything out of that. But like just when you're talking about anime storylines, they almost always end with but who am I? Yeah. Who am I really? Where am I going in this universe? What justifies my existence? Like I just pretty much ruined the end to at least 60 animes right there.
A lot of characters end up being, for example, dreams of a dead civilization.
Well, Persona 4, I agree with you, has like a story rooted in like reality, sort of a way. Despite all the Midnight Channel stuff, like there is a murder mystery occurring that you have to solve that has a direct and plausible, tangible conclusion. So,
right. Everything's plausible within its own universe, and everything is very. The characters are a lot more well defined. I think the characters in this game are fantastic.
Yes.
I love Chie and Teddy and Yosuke and. They're so great, and I also really love. Not to get too, I'm going to get a little heavy here, but this game delves into some really interesting gender issues and stuff.
Yeah, it does.
Which I always really respected and thought was just fantastic. Both like sexuality and like gender. Identification. There's a lot going really
on.
Good.
There's definitely a lot going on, and you, as with any Persona game, you get as much out of it as you put into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't, like, you can probably avoid a whole bunch of the social interaction stuff and get through the game in a hurry, but you lose out on all the like weird storylines and like you said, all the really subtle points of interest.
Well. It's not all that subtle.
Yeah.
When you go into... this game came out in 2008, so, whatever, spoilers. But when you go into Kanji's dream world, it's a straight-up bathhouse.
Yeah.
It's not really very subtle.
Subtle like a big punch in the face.
Yeah. Persona 4 is a really good game. I just don't know if I want to commit 100 hours to it just in the middle of May.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's going to be my summer doldrum game, I think.
I need one of those. I don't know what. My current thinking is I'll probably go back to Ni no Kuni, which I really did not give the time that I should have given to it. So.
Ugh.
Not a fan?
Sorry. I did not like that game, despite really wanting to.
I kind of felt the same way after playing a short bit of it. But I also feel like I didn't give it enough time to develop, so... It's pretty.
One last thing about Persona 4. It is a PS2 game, but, man, the artistry of that game means it's still really genuinely gorgeous. Like, what a great-looking game.
The menu design always is really striking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not just because it's bright yellow.
No, but it's designed well.
Yeah.
It's got a good use of color and negative space and, all of the stuff that makes design good regardless of time.
Even like, I was messing around with playing it in a... I was like, this game looks so good, I wonder what it would look like rezzed up in an emulator. And... there's a lot of stuff, even in the 3D bits, that are just like, man, these textures are surprisingly sharp. and really like just well realized, and there's a lot of detail that you actually never saw.
Yeah.
In the PS2 version.
There are a lot of PS1/PS2 era games, especially PS1 era. If you ever play like even a game like Final Fantasy VII, you play that on the PC with say an emulator that's totally illegal. That game suddenly, even though it's still pretty ugly, gets a whole bunch prettier.
Yeah.
I guess that doesn't surprise me too much. But yeah, the whole Persona 4, really pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Watching video of it makes me want to play it. It's not good. So,
well, that's it for me for my games.
All right, Sharon. How about you? What are you up to right now?
Well, nothing that I haven't already talked about before, but I've continued my playthrough through Earthbound.
Okay.
And I'm going to ask you a little bit about it because I'm still pretty early on but I'm at the point where in the beginning parts of Earthbound, when you're kind of around your house and your town and all this stuff, all of the enemies that are randomly around the forest and the town, like birds and snakes and things, I'm way overpowered for those. Like I come up to them and it's like, you won, and here's 2 experience points. Like,
you get sucked into the auto battle.
Yeah, and I've done everything I think I can do in town, and I've gone beyond all of that and gone into some other parts of town. I believe there's a guy behind the arcade and his robot, and I've killed that guy finally. And everybody keeps telling me now, go up to the caves. Go to the caves. They're great up there. I go up to the caves, and people are kicking my ass.
Go up to the caves, man. There's a dead body you can poke with a stick.
No, there's something happens to me up there. Anyway, my whole goal is to go and meet the next player in your party, right? Who I named in the beginning sequence, Jill. So I know that I have to go to the next town and meet Jill, but before I can do that, I have to go do something else in these caves. So anyway, I go up to the caves, and the mice and the slugs and the bugs all are damaging me so much that all I seem to be doing is buying a lot of burgers and fries and bread rolls and stocking up as much as I possibly can, getting into the caves and getting my ass whooped every single time.
Yeah.
So what's up with that? How do I make the jump between the two where I'm over-leveled and now where I'm taking too much damage?
So, go ahead, Nick. Go ahead.
Sorry. I haven't played this game in years, so maybe I'm misremembering something, but I think the character you named Jill is actually in the same town.
Oh.
Oh, well, everyone keeps telling me she's the next town over.
Really?
She lives at the daycare or something in the next town.
Oh, yeah, okay. The daycare isn't in that
town, no.
Oh, okay.
That would make sense, though.
I don't know, see.
So, I'm for anyone watching the videocast, I'm playing some video right now which suggests that Sharon is doing plenty of damage, but she's taking way too much damage. So I'm thinking, my thought was maybe you're not equipping your underwear or something.
Well, I've got a hat that I think the kids in the treehouse or something gave me this hat, and I upgraded my bat so that it's like, I don't know, titanium or whatever it is that it's supposed to be. And I think there's something else equipped that I can't remember at the moment, but yeah, I do take a lot of damage from what is seemingly a puny little mouse.
Yeah, beyond that, I don't know. I know I played through this portion of the game a few years ago, and I don't recall having this issue. So, you must be missing something.
I must be.
The key to Earthbound. The very beginning of Earthbound, mind you, but the key to Earthbound.
I keep meaning to start this game up again also, so I can play through it and sort of see it again through your eyes, in a way. And also maybe jog my memory so I can give you more tips on how to get through it.
I mean, it's not like it's a new game. I can always go on the internet and find things. I don't know, I'm not used to playing these types of games, I guess, and so I run into these little hitches where I must have missed a directive, because all of a sudden it goes from 1 level to like 4 levels,
right.
you know? Like, it doesn't transition as smoothly as I would have expected, so I must be missing some key things somewhere.
In my general experience in playing RPGs, usually when that happens, and it happens to all of us, mind you, when that happens, it usually means I'm in the wrong spot or I forgot to do something. And if that's not the case, then it usually means the game is completely unfair.
Well, I don't think that's the case. I suspect highly that I'm just missing something. I guess people can email me if they want to, but I don't want spoilers. I don't know. I guess I just need to keep asking people. I feel like I've asked the same people the same questions over and over and over.
I'm gonna boot it up this week, and I'm gonna start playing through it also.
But having said that, even though I'm having difficulties, the sprites are amazing. Like, I love the little sprites. I love the music. Like, it's a really pretty little game, which doesn't at all look like the title screen when it's got the spaceships and the UFOs and stuff. And I'm like, when am I going to get to that part? Because that looks so different. So I love all the stuff about that, and I like that a burger will help increase my life. Like, in real life, that's kind of opposite, but it's for what it's worth, I'm enjoying it, but I am taking it quite slow. So
it's the most delicious burger of all time.
Yeah, I don't know. I like all the little sprites and the music and the, subtle hints about doing this, and the fact that I can approach the same person twice and they don't necessarily tell me the same thing twice. So that's cool.
It's just a very lovingly crafted, very artistically crafted game.
Yeah,
it's charming.
Yeah.
And every time I call Dad to save the game, and he says, "Okay, well, are you going to continue or end?" And I'm like, "Continue." He's like, "Don't work too hard." I'm going to go to bed, so don't you work too hard.
Oh man, yeah, I love this game. I mean, this is yet another example of where tone in a game means so much, or can mean so much, because really, if you just looked at this game on paper, it's like, okay, this is a pretty standard Dragon Quest type JRPG. Like, the mechanics, there's nothing special going on outside of the artistry and the music and the context and the general tone of the game. You know what I mean? But that stuff is so great. It provides genuine meaning to the otherwise mediocre mechanics.
Right.
And makes the whole thing a lot more fun.
Yeah. No, I'm having a blast with it, and like the little sounds when you level up make me smile. I'm like, yeah, I did level up, and I like that kind of thing. That's
yeah, we'll get you there.
And I'm in it for the long haul, so it's fine.
All right, I'm holding you to that.
All right, I got a lot of long-term projects going on.
I'm holding you to your Persona 3 playthrough, which is going on 18 months.
I'll still finish it. I just have to charge up the PSP. So let's see, what else? I've been playing another game that's a bit newer, but not new by any standards. Hey, I love that game. And
yeah, me too.
I can't stop going back to it. And every time someone says they're not sure what to play, and Nick, you can attest to this, I say, let's play Torchlight 2! Yes. And then Nick goes, but I don't have Torchlight 2.
I don't own Torchlight 2.
I said, well, go get Torchlight
2! Hey, Nick.
Yeah?
You should get Torchlight 2.
Now, here's the thing. I played through Diablo 3 twice, I think, and I still like this better. Yeah,
I'm with you on that.
Is there just more to do?
I don't know. I don't know how to. It's There's more to do, but it's also I feel like it's not quite as linear. If that makes sense, it's not quite as. I mean, there is still linear parts of it. You still have to go through your quests and stuff, but I don't feel like I'm forced to take them in a particular order.
See,
Yeah. There's more side quests and more side stuff and more random stuff
Yes.
in Torchlight 2. And also, it's not as nearly story-driven. There is a story, but it's... Diablo 3 had, you know, a cutscene between every single area.
Yeah, absolutely.
You could hardly call that a story.
Well,
it wasn't a very good story. But,
but you still had to go
wait,
through
did I say
it.
Diablo 2? I meant 3, sorry.
But you still had to go through those story elements, even if they weren't particularly well written.
Right.
I don't know, Torchlight 2, it's a better game, in my opinion, and therefore I can't seem to stop coming back to it. I mean, it can be a couple of days, a couple of weeks, months, and I still come back, and I still am addicted to looting, and more than that, just when I find, because I'm an item hell person, I find items and I don't get rid of them, because I think everything is awesome.
Yeah.
And then I'll find that one piece, and it's like, say I'm level 27, and this helmet is level 31. I'm like, oh, I gotta get to 31 so I can wear that helmet. Which is kind of probably a backwards way to look at loot, but, you know, and I like the system, the jewel system, and the combination system, which, you know, isn't wildly different, but it still helps propel through this game.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah.
love the classes, too, in that
Yes.
game. The classes are all really quite different, and I love that they have the different, each one has its own, like, charge mechanic, which is cool. Yeah, I'm totally with you. I love the shit out of Torchlight 2.
Yeah, and I really like that it is multiplayer, even though I can't seem to get too many people playing it.
Oh man, I will play Torchlight 2 with you anytime you want. Seriously.
Yeah, it's a great element to, you know, the Diablo style playing. I hate to make the comparison, but it is very much the same type thing.
Yeah.
The only thing that I'm still struggling with a little bit is how to optimize my pet perfectly, because I feel like anytime I get into something where I'm a little bit underleveled, my poor pet takes a beating, and I don't like that. But, you know, it's just a matter of figuring out the right optimization. And
What is your pet?
a cat.
Okay. I couldn't really
Do you use the fish ever?
Now,
You
here's
feed
the
your
thing,
pet
is that I fish all the time, and I have crazy fish, but I never seem to find the right time to be like, here, eat this fish and turn into crazy sand crab.
Yeah.
Which maybe that's part of it.
I like always having a fish on the hotbar.
Oh, okay.
So that I can just pop that button when things get crazy, because those transformations make a lot of difference.
Yeah.
They not only transform your pet, they give them a lot more power.
Right. Maybe that's it. That's a great idea.
Talking Ukrainian right now.
You really need to play Torchlight 2.
Yeah. Pop that fish on the bar, eat the fish, and turn into a sand crab. That's all I got out of that.
I think you would really like it.
You're probably right.
You know?
I'd probably start playing it and start ignoring all of my other life requirements, like eating and pooping. Especially pooping.
If you don't do the first one, you don't have to worry about the second one.
Yeah.
I never thought of it that way.
So I've been playing that, and there's one other game that I've been playing, and a little bit at a time, and that's Bioshock Infinite. So I'm still going through this game. I probably put in another 4 hours this week into it, which is not a ton. I have started to encounter some glitches.
Glitches, you say?
Yes, and I don't know if this is specific to the 360 version or if it's just because the way I play, but what I'm running into is characters disappearing. And not just any characters that are detrimental to progression of the gameplay. So, for example, before I can go into the next section, I have to kill everyone in this part. But in this part, there is a guy, I can hear him yelling at me, I can hear him shooting at me, but he's not there. So what I have to do is find, say, a skyhook or some other way to exit that area, enter back in order for him to be put back where his sound is. If that makes sense. I don't know if I explained it correctly, but I tried.
It's a scripting error, so basically it means you wandered around so wildly that you actually bypassed the entire script. Congratulations.
Well, that's, again, what I had to do was exit the area, come back in to find him, had taken all the damage that I had given to him before he disappeared, finally kill him, and then I can continue on with the story, because I couldn't actually enter the next sequence until I had killed him. And that's happened probably 2 or 3 times since I started this week.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, if any game developers are listening right now, Sharon could really use a job in QA.
I don't think I would want that job.
QA the shit out of your game by accident.
If there's anybody who can do that, though, it's me.
Yes, absolutely.
The other thing that I have had happen probably twice to me now is Elizabeth disappearing. And usually when I am traveling from one place to another, I got into one particular battle sequence where I was used to having Elizabeth hand me ammo and hand me salts and things that I would need to kind of continue through the battle, and she wasn't there. And I thought, oh shit, how am I going to do this, because I'm going to need to replenish throughout this battle. I pushed my way through it. I got all the way to the other side, got into an elevator, and then there she was.
Just randomly. Just hanging out.
I'm like, well, I'm glad she reset and can continue the story with me, but again, she wasn't there during the gameplay part, and that seems like a bit of a glitch to me.
Yeah, I from what I played, she disappeared a few times too. My assumption was that it was scripted for her to disappear during certain times.
Yeah.
She definitely makes herself scarce during battles.
Well, now this was not a scripted disappearance. I have come across scripted disappearances before. This was just, she's not there.
Weird.
Again, I think I just glitched it out. Now, having said that, I kind of felt you out a little bit, Nick, to see how far into the game you had played, because I didn't want to spoil anything for you.
Yep.
I'm past where you are, so I'm going to
Good.
try and say this without wrecking it, but,
Too
let's
bad.
see. No. I'm at a point where the story is starting to turn, and the Elizabeth that you play with at the beginning of the game and the Elizabeth that you play with through the rest of it wear different clothing. And I'm not quite at the point where she's wearing different clothing, and I'm not sure what part of the story perpetuates that, but I feel like I might be really, really close to that.
Okay.
And before she changes clothing, every time I play with Elizabeth or like interact with her, all I can think of, and maybe I'm sure the internet has already talked about this, but I've been avoiding the internet, Elizabeth looks like Belle from Beauty and the Beast. And to the point where there's an early sequence where the guy on the beach is like, Annabelle? I'm like, oh my god, it's Belle! That's totally it. And I don't know if it's on purpose, like being locked away in a tower, looking like Belle, being called Annabelle. I'm like, there's got to be something here.
And
it's
getting
like,
freed from the tower and then going outside and dancing.
Does Ken Levine have daughters or something? He's been watching some Disney lately. I don't know.
Well, I mean, yeah, you could totally see the Disney influence in her character design.
Yeah, for
despite even like the direct Belle analog.
She's got a Disney nose.
Well, everything.
Yeah, and Disney, like her whole face, yeah, like everything. She looks like she could be a Disney princess.
And when you first meet her, or when you first encounter her and you're kind of being a creeper watching her through the mirrors and stuff, she's doing the very Disney thing where she's twirling around reading a book, or, you know, like there could be little birds twerping a ribbon in her hair or something. It's very, very Disney.
That's in the director's cut.
Yeah. So I'm having, you know, some of those thoughts, but I know that I'm reaching a point where she will probably be changing costume soon, and maybe that won't be quite as prevalent. So
if she was, she seemed like, even the first time I played it, in that scene you're talking about where you're creeping on her.
Yeah.
It seemed like to me, it seemed like she should be singing a song.
Yes, yeah. Well, and she wants to go to Paris, and, you know, like, you know, totally.
And break out and just start singing The Sound of Music.
She's very Disney, yeah, for sure.
But
yeah, so I mean,
Bioshock.
glitches aside, I'm still pushing through, and it's becoming more and more of a complex story. And her as a secondary character, her motivations are changing, and that's fine too. I find that all kind of interesting. There's more backstory being built, and environment, and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, I'm pushing on.
You gonna finish it?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I still want to finish it. I just don't want to play it to finish it.
Yep. What do you think about that?
I think you want to talk about something, but you don't want to wreck it.
No, I want to talk about something, but my brain is not letting me. What was I going to say? Oh, so I wonder, having, like, you playing this outside, like, after the huge zeitgeist of the original release of the game, are you, like, are you being, like, totally blown away by your progression through this? What are you thinking about the game just in general so far? Just overall impressions.
I mean, it's a good game. I like the Bioshock franchise, but this doesn't feel like that. As I said last time, I feel like it's a little bit, it's approached in a way that doesn't have the same cohesiveness as the previous one, especially the first one.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly blown away. I'm kind of waiting for that holy shit moment. And before I finished playing this week, before I did my save and log out, something in the storyline that I don't want to ruin for Nick here happened that suggested that maybe the story is going to start to go off the rails a little bit, and maybe that's part of why people were so hyped, because of the conceptualness of the story itself. Because in terms of the gameplay mechanics and the way the environments and stuff are treated, it's not really anything new, per se. Like, the specifics of it are new, but not sort of the way it's been approached.
Right.
So, I'm not blown away yet, but I anticipate I might be.
Sure.
Okay. So vague.
No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
You're not blown away, but you're excited.
Yeah, and like I said, I keep getting to certain points where I'm like, oh, if this means what I think it's going to mean, then that is really exciting. But it may not actually mean what I think it means.
Are you playing on PC or
no, on the 360.
Xbox? Okay.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, the 360 version has almost no dropped frames. It's pretty impressive.
That's cool.
Especially given how many problems a lot of the 360 releases have had recently.
Yeah.
I was expecting a hot mess, and it looks pretty good. So.
The one thing I do like that I've encountered a lot in this week's playing through is as using the rips to your advantage, to take things that are in other parallels and bringing them physically to your own parallel to use to your advantage, and then switching to something else that's in a rip.
Yeah.
And that's really cool. I'm digging that. It's tough to keep track of at first, but once you get the hang of it, it's a nice little thing.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's pretty nifty.
It's like resource management, right?
You take what you need when you need it.
Yeah.
Yep.
But you have to do it on while you're under pressure, which is kind of cool.
Which can be difficult.
Yeah. So that's pretty much what I've been doing this week, and I don't anticipate it's going to change much, because I've got some games that are pretty, dedicated.
Yeah, you have
for the next little while. So
definitely have a lot of things going on, to say the least.
Yeah.
I guess that brings it to me. I've not really been playing a whole lot, so I won't go on too long about this. So a lot of this week I've had a lot of other things going on in personal life, so I didn't get to play a whole lot. However, as I had mentioned at the beginning of this podcast, I've been just more or less trying to find something to play, and that has kind of been the challenge. So I've been kind of going through my giant list of Super Nintendo games and just randomly clicking on things to see what happens. And as Sharon can attest, those attempts were pretty ill-advised. I think that's probably the best way of putting it.
Yeah.
A lot of the games that I clicked on ended up either being really bad, like I think there was a game called Spellcraft, which was so bad that I could not even get past the intro. And I played a whole bunch of Japanese games in which I don't read Japanese, so I couldn't play them. I can't believe how many RPGs came out in Japan for the Super Nintendo that are completely unplayable by American means. So I started clicking around and playing some things that I had played a ton of. Some of them I got footage of. Well, most of them I did not get footage of. The last one that I played was the Addams Family for Super Nintendo. It was one of the original games that came out for the system. Pretty sure it's a first-year game. Nick, we were talking about this a few days ago. You said you had never ever seen this game.
Yeah, I didn't. I mean, it doesn't surprise me that it exists, but I didn't know it did. I didn't know it exists.
So there's a bunch of Addams Family games for the Super Nintendo, and the scary thing is they're all delightfully okay.
Really?
I am surprised because when you said Addams Family, I was like, oh yeah, licensed game, come on.
Yeah. The one that I was playing is the first one, and it's just a run and jump. There's really not a whole lot else going on. However, the run and jump difficulty ramps up pretty quickly, and it just gets to be totally insane. Obviously, it's all done in an Addams Family aesthetic, which may or may not please you, but it's fine by my standards.
So this is based on the movies, right?
Yes. It came out around the same time as the movie, so it was meant as a movie tie-in. However, the second one, which I don't have footage of, I apologize, is called Pugsley's Scavenger Hunt, and it's based on the Addams Family cartoon, which was based on the movie.
Oh
man.
Which is even after the TV show, which was way before.
The cartoon came after the movie.
Okay.
And the movie's based on the television show.
Right.
So if you're following here at home, kids, it's a television show which had a movie based on it, which had a cartoon based on it, which had a video game based on it. That is the
Addams Family. The game, the cartoon, the movie, the show.
Yes. I don't have any footage of Pugsley's Scavenger Hunt, but actually that game, I would go as far as to say, despite the fact that it's incredibly difficult, is actually quite good. It's good enough that it was actually on the cover of Nintendo Power back in the
really?
day. Yeah, like it was actually pretty solid. But yeah, the one that I was playing was this first one. I'll tell the story as I told Sharon when I started playing this, is that the game is one of the few in the history of my gameplay history in which, as a kid, I could beat without even thinking about it. Like, I just had the whole thing mapped out in my head, but for whatever reason, my brain dumped out all that information and replaced it with something else, like a safe combination.
And you keep everything.
I keep everything. Like, Sharon knows this better than anybody. Sometimes I'll just start playing some random game that I haven't played in 20 years, and for whatever reason, I can just run through it, like, without thinking, and just be like, yep, this is here, and this is here, and, you click this, you jump on this, do this, and you win the game. And that's just kind of the way I operate. I just don't forget the small details about... It's like think about people who read a lot of books. Like, people who just read tons of books, and they always know, it's like, yeah, I've read that book. He dies at the end.
Oh.
So
the butler did it.
I'm kind of the same way with video games, where I tend to remember every single little detail about everything. However, for whatever reason, with this Addams Family game, I dumped all the information. Just my brain completely forgot it all. So I've tried to pick it up and play it on several occasions, and I'll be like, man, why do I not remember anything about this? So I decided to sit down and try and just run through it again, and lo and behold, I actually managed to finish it. And it's a very, very basic run and jump game. However, I do want to say, as I said before, Addams Family games tend to actually be pretty high quality. So if you're looking for something old school to play, not too complicated, but just frustrating enough to keep your interest, I would suggest giving it a shot. Maybe?
Yeah, don't randomly open and click and play games, because that's how you get into trouble.
Yeah, what was I playing? A game called, like, Super Poonaner?
Yeah, oh god, yeah.
Basically, the whole title of the game sounded like I was talking about someone's, like, super giant vagina. It was, yeah.
But,
wish I could remember the exact title of that game.
I don't think it matters.
It ended up being an Arkanoid clone, strangely enough.
Oh, was that Pooyan?
It might have been Pooyan.
But that's not how you said it.
That's not how I was saying it. If you catch my drift.
If it was Pooyan, that's actually a pretty good game.
Pooyan
is the one where it's like 3 little pigs. You're like a pig, and there's like wolves trying to climb up the thing, and you're in a balloon.
Then this is definitely not Super Pooyan.
Okay.
That's all I know is the title was very suggestive in a mostly accidental way. If you know what I'm saying. Like, it was definitely a Japanese game, so like they're like, oh yeah, we'll just go with Poonan, and yeah, maybe we should stop talking about that.
That's fine.
I really actually love doing that dangerous random. Let's play a random Super Nintendo game, because I have a huge soft spot for terrible Super Nintendo games because I feel like the Super Nintendo got to a point where it had just enough fidelity that you could more easily recognize when something was terrible. Does that make sense?
Maybe we should do a random Super Nintendo Videocast next week.
That'd be great. Because Nintendo games, it's like, well, this seems bad, but it also, like, all Nintendo games kind of end up looking sort of the same.
Yeah.
In a way, because it's such a limited color palette and all that kind of stuff. But when a Super Nintendo game is bad, it just the Super Nintendo had a higher ceiling for games to look good by comparison, to both look and play good by comparison. So it was like the first system where you could really have a wider range of really terrible and really good.
I think part of the problem that you're describing also has to do with the fact that suddenly so many more development tools were available, such as say, Mode 7, and not everybody knew how to use that stuff well.
Yeah.
So you have some Mode 7, which looks fantastic, and then you have other parts, it's like, what were you even trying to do?
Man, I love stupid, gratuitous Mode 7.
Me too.
Like, let's make the whole logo of the game spin around on the title screen. Why?
You just described ActRaiser.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's like the perfect example of gratuitous Mode 7.
Alright, so Super Nintendo random cast next week, right?
Super Nintendo randomness next week only. That may or may not happen. Alright, that's pretty much all I've been playing. I will try and play something actually legitimate next week, unless we end up doing a Super Nintendo random Videocast, in which case I will do the exact opposite of what I just said, and play absolutely nothing legitimate. So, yeah, how you guys feel about taking a little break? We've been going on for over an hour.
I think it's time.
Alright, let's take a little break. If you're watching, we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. And we'll return with some news. Okay. I guess technically we never left, but we're back.
Officially back.
Officially we are back. For those of you listening to our podcast, you have no idea what we're talking about, and we like to keep it that way.
Evil. Totally evil.
So here we are in the second half. We are going to do some news, aren't we?
Yep.
Sharon, do you love the news?
I love the news.
You don't love the news.
I love the news.
We've had this discussion many, many times.
The news is great.
The news is awful. How many people got laid off today?
Oh, you know what? I left that story out. We don't even we don't want more layoffs.
But you say you left it out, which means it still exists.
Yes, it does.
There was still somebody who got let go.
If you're interested in those layoffs, you can do a search. You'll find it.
God damn it.
We're not going to talk about it today, though, because it's a happy day, kind
Video games, stop firing people.
Yeah. Didn't you and I had this discussion recently about going to bed worrying about your job?
Yeah.
And that game developers have the hardest, I don't know, aspect in that never knowing.
You never know. You go to bed like, I love my job. Yippity zippity doo.
And then by the end of the day,
you have a box and a pink slip.
Yeah.
And in the box is an award that says the world's best video game developer dude.
Yeah.
That wasn't enough.
So sad.
All right.
Anyway.
How about some other news? What else do we have?
Well, something's come up this week that I know both of you Nicks want to talk about, and that is the claim that Nintendo is making on ad revenue for user-generated YouTube videos.
Right.
So, talking about Let's Play videos and, I don't know what else, walkthrough videos. Basically, videos of Nintendo-licensed games. And they're like, that's our intellectual property, dudes. You cannot make money off of that.
Right. So, I think the original thought on the matter was that Nintendo was actually taking down videos.
Yeah, that's what I thought at first as well, because the people that were talking about it early on were talking about it in pretty vague terms.
Mm-hmm.
But in actuality, they just want all your money instead.
Yeah, you don't have to take your video down, you just can't make money.
That's much better.
Yeah.
Because, when I mean, realistically, Nick, you might actually be able to speak to this better, but, like, I've thought about it before, being like, well, I'm pretty good at video games. I could just make a bunch of videos and then try and, get some ad revenue, and maybe I could quit my job and just play video games for real off of all those ads, which are worth no money at all. But in any event, I guess the point of this all is that Nintendo's saying, this is all our stuff, and we want the money that you were making off of it.
Yeah.
And that's that. So, what are your thoughts?
I mean, it's this all gets into fair use, which is sticky and has yet to actually be proven in a court. Like, there's no precedent for fair use.
Especially video games are kind of have been and will continue to be a pretty gray area.
Yeah.
For a lot of like what you own and what you don't own. And your rights when you buy something, basically.
Yeah. Well, and it's obvious you don't own the visuals and audio of a video game, but the argument goes by playing the game, and not just playing it, but commentating over it and providing extra entertainment on top of it, that it's, a substantively transformative work then. It's the game is part of it, but it's not. That seems like it should very clearly fall under the very, unfortunately, very vague language of fair use, and that you should actually even be able to make some money on that, because it is potentially transformative, and it becomes a new piece of work.
So I kind of agree with what you say. So I don't know if talking over a video transforms it per se. Like, we're talking over Mega Man 4 video right now, and I don't know if we're necessarily transforming Mega Man in Skullman stage.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're right, because there's different levels of it right now, and a lot of there is definitely a contingent of YouTube personalities that do this, where they basically, and we're doing it right now, where we're basically using Mega Man as like background music.
Yes.
It's there, but it's not really the point. The thing where this gets sticky is more critical work, or like performance-based work, like speed runs. Like, does a speed run? There's an inherent performance element in that.
Right. Even then, I was thinking about that as you were talking about like transformative type stuff. When people taking huge shortcuts or people breaking a game, is that even transformative? And the more I think about it, even there, I'm like, oh, maybe not really.
Yeah, but I mean, it's also the part that's interesting for me is where the established video game press has been essentially doing the same thing for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they have ads on their page with screenshots and videos and etc.
And now Nintendo owns them all, and that's how they're going to win this generation.
I mean, yeah, you have to make you could make the argument that, well, yes, that's because they all made deals and they're working with PR and all that kind of stuff. And yes, I think that's important. You should definitely do the legwork to get to protect your rights and get the permission and all that kind of stuff.
I think more interestingly is that like it almost seems like no one even thought of this until Nintendo like pulled out the rug. Yeah,
I mean, this is a thing this is a conversation, and in the end, I'm actually sort of I mean, not completely, but kind of glad that this happened because it has started a conversation about this stuff. I think Let's Plays and the YouTube gaming community has been around for far too long for this conversation to have taken this long to really be legitimized.
Just to note that a lot of people are probably going to start yelling at Nintendo for this, but Nintendo has a history of actually being pretty cool with the community over its assets. Even 10 years ago, back in the old Newgrounds days, people were making Nintendo Sprite videos, like we're talking like hundreds a day, and Nintendo could have had that site shut down like at any point in time. But they didn't, because it's like free advertising for them. But then again, back then, no one was trying to make any money off of that stuff. They just wanted to be known. These days, everyone's trying to hit YouTube and getting dollars and cents, y'all. It's all about the almighty Benjamin.
It also kind of weirds me out a little bit that Nintendo is the one that drew the ire for this, because I know that I've had videos from both Capcom and EA flagged by Content ID and placed ads on my videos for them to make money and me to not see a cent out of it.
Yep.
You're just part of the
machine, man.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, that happened to me years ago, so this is not a new thing.
No.
But it did, for whatever reason, well, no, I know what a very prominent YouTube personality got hit with this and started discussing it, and that's how it made the rounds. Whereas little guys like me have been getting this stuff for a while, and I don't have as much of a voice, so no one's going to listen to me if I were to make a stink about it. But all of this stuff, though, if there's any, the 3 viewers that I have are listening to this, I actually started monetizing all of my videos after this, but it's not about the money. I'm going to make jack shit on the money. It's more about legitimization. It's more about having my work being considered seriously.
It's all legal now.
Yeah, well, right. Yeah. In a way, it's like, well, I did the legwork to either find or procure the permission to monetize this video. And, it has ads on it now, which, to an outside observer, just kind of automatically makes it... I've always been afraid that my videos previously there's only been a couple of them that have had ads on it, and it's been ones that have been Content ID matched.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always been afraid that people haven't been taken seriously because there's no ads. I don't know if that's a conscious thing that anyone would have ever thought, but having ads on it certainly does provide an air of legitimacy to a thing.
Unless you have ad block.
Right.
In which case, no one's making anything.
Yeah. I guess my fear was always, if someone's going to look at this stuff, you know, if I applied for a video job somewhere in the future and someone looks at my channel and they look at it and they think, oh man, this guy couldn't even make a couple of cents from YouTube. How is this guy going to make us any money? You know what I mean?
Right.
Oh
well. We'll have to see how it plays out, but I have a feeling this conversation will probably end with nothing coming about. Like, everything will stay the same.
Yeah, but at least there is a conversation now.
Yeah, it's an important conversation to have. Yeah. I don't know. I think I look at it from an unpopular point of view, because I think intellectual property right is an important thing to keep track of. And,
yes, definitely.
And just because somebody is transforming your work doesn't necessarily mean that they should be, or that you want it to be. So permissions are important, and that's probably not a really popular thing for what we do. But artistically, you got to protect what you've created.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think that this should be like an abolishment. I don't think that this should end with everyone's free to make money on everything that they upload to YouTube.
Right.
I definitely still think that people need to go through and, you know, procure the permission and find the official permission to make money on their work. And if they don't get that permission, then respect it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it just, you know, it makes me feel, as a dude that's been struggling with this stuff, been struggling to find an audience and struggling to find legitimacy for a couple years now, you know, it just makes me feel like I'm just fucking wasting my time with all of this stuff. If Nintendo can just come down and say, nope, all of this stuff is a completely illegitimate use of your time, you're not gonna make any money on this.
Right. Oh well.
It's like you know, it's like the someone, I don't remember who, so I apologize for the non-credit on this, but someone's posted on Twitter something to the effect of, in 2034, telepathic broadcasters will YouTubers will be telling telepathic broadcasters to get a real job.
I guess so. It's like, it comes down to it, the only way you're going to make any real money is with all original content. So start drawing.
Start making your own games.
Start coloring.
Well, but I mean, that's not entirely true, because there is an established games media that, in a lot of ways, is kind of starting to eat the lunch a little bit of the YouTubers. You know, sites like I absolutely fucking love Giant Bomb. It's my favorite website out there. But they are completely riffing on a lot of things that, a lot of trends that were already happening on YouTube and other places. Well, they're doing it from a seemingly more legitimate standpoint, because they're already established games media, and they have these established business connections that they can leverage to make this. And, you know, other sites like Game Informer is starting to do the same thing. They have their replays and super replay series. So it just, I don't know, it just gets me a little bit that it's like, well, these guys are...
Yeah, you could do so much more. Leave this to us.
Well, no, not just that. It's like, these guys are making money with it, and you could argue that, yeah, they're probably doing it a lot better than a vast majority of the people out there, because they have the experience in the industry. But at the same time, it's like, well, you can't... It's a double-edged sword. You know, you can't say this one is not legitimate, but this one is, when they're ultimately doing the same thing.
Yeah.
I think,
So that was my sort of mostly incoherent rant about
Video games, god damn it.
I don't really have any really concrete thing to say on it. I just have a bunch of feelings.
Yeah. No, it's an ongoing conversation that I think will continue to happen.
Yeah.
I think and I hope it does.
The bottom line is, we love video games. We would love to also make money with video games, but at the moment, there's this whole tangle of all sorts of shit going on, and it's not easy. Especially starting from ground zero.
Yeah, totally.
Just gotta claw our way up the hard way. What else we got?
Well, some news from EA in that they are no longer going to be doing online passes, which are the digital codes you get in when you buy a game from the store, and usually it's for, I think they were doing them from pre-order items, like get 5 extra guns and put in this code and get a funky hat and stuff like that.
I don't have a problem with this. Actually, after doing a little bit of research, it's retardedly easy to find ways through piracy to get plenty of online codes and passes for pretty much anything you want.
Really?
Not that I have ever done this or exploited this. However, a quick Google search will expose the dark underbelly of online pass. I don't even know how to go about describing it. But basically, it sounds like EA's reaction to what is basically something they can't control. Saying, you know what, we can't control this, people are getting around it, let's just shut it down.
But the online pass works as a membership type thing, right? So it's to prevent piracy?
But yeah, it's usually for games that have multiplayer components.
Right, so like your monthly...
Yeah, you can't get into the multiplayer if you bought this game used because presumably the person that had it before plugged in this code to get access to the multiplayer and it's used up already.
Right. It was one of EA's many slights against the used game business, saying, hey, you can buy a used copy and give us absolutely no money, but you're going to miss all this content that we locked behind a wall.
Yeah.
And just by shutting that down, they're basically, I don't know what they're saying. Maybe they just don't want to put the money into it. Maybe they don't think it worked. I have a feeling that it probably did not work, just based on the fact that I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I guess I don't know how I feel.
I've seen some speculation on the net that this actually has more to do with the next generation. Yeah, like they're stopping this because it's going to be built in or something.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's complete speculation, though. It is a thing that potentially makes sense.
We already got rid of instruction manuals. We might as well get rid of the card with the code on it, too.
Oh, I like manuals.
Soon there won't be anything left.
Dear, oh dear.
I don't know. I welcome the...
You get a receipt and like a chicken leg, and that's it. It's like, what's the chicken leg for? I don't know. We had to give you something.
I welcome the all-digital future.
I welcome the all-chicken leg future. But damn it, if I can still get my PS4 games in a box, I will do it.
I don't know. See, I really like physical things. I like when things are printed. I still read books that are printed on paper. I don't know. I like
to hold something in my hands. You know, hold it, touch it, smell it, tell it I love it in the middle of the night, caress it, fondle it, study its every curve and every
whatever
lines.
I
can't do that when it's all digital.
Well, never mind. Let's just go. Let's just let it go.
Alright, let's move on.
I'm going to have to defer to Nick for this one because I know the internet has exploded, but I have not paid close attention to the Steam trading cards.
Oh, yeah.
So tell us a little bit about Steam trading cards.
Well, first of all, I have to say that I am a complete and total sucker because I love the crap out of this. The Steam launched... It's essentially a really complicated addition to achievements, sort of. It's like, as you play games, trading cards for that game will drop. And the trading cards are obviously completely virtual. They're a thing that sit in your profile on Steam, and you can create. You do get some pretty great artwork out of it. You can click on the trading card and get like a full-blown like HD artwork for whatever the card is, which is pretty cool. But you can you collect. There's full sets of these cards, and you collect a full set for a game, and then you trade them in for badges, and the badges increase your overall Steam level. So Steam now also has XP and level.
This is an extension of the achievement system, basically.
Yeah, sort of, but so far, at least none of the games that support it right now, I don't think it's tied to specific things you do in the game. They just randomly drop as you play.
Huh.
And the other thing is you can't... each person can only get half the set from playing the game.
Oh, it's Pokemon all over again.
Yeah, to get a whole set for any particular game, you have to trade with other people.
I have to be social. I have to talk to people.
It means if you don't have friends, you'll never win.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, maybe.
Sad.
Well, but I'll, level 10 because I don't have any friends. Why would anybody talk to me?
No.
It's still in beta right now. You have to opt into it, and there's instructions on the page on how to do that. I got into it right away when I opted into it, but you can also get other rewards with the badges. You can get chat emotes for different games based on the cards, which is pretty cool. You can get different profile backgrounds. You can get different badges and other things to display on your actual Steam profile. I don't know. I'm all about it.
So there's a certain number of games that they're doing right now in beta, right?
Yeah, there's a bunch of Steam games. Half-Life 2, Team Fortress 2, Portal 2. The only non-Steam game right now is Don't Starve.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's I'm into it because I love Team Fortress 2. I put a lot of time into that, and I already really liked trading hats in there. So I'm already down. Valve has already got me in their Steam trading ecosystem. So this is kind of just another extension of that.
Fancy hats.
Yeah, this is just fancy hats for your Steam profile, basically.
If I could just tie this conversation into the previous one, what would be pretty nifty is if after collecting a full set of cards for a game, you could send away for a physical set of the cards.
Ah, I see where you're going with that.
That would be cool. Yeah, I would love that.
Actually, the idea for that came from Magic Online, which is Magic the Gathering's online service, where if you collect all of the digital copies of any card, of all the cards in one set, you can actually trade them in, and they will mail you a physical set of those cards.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
There's another social viewing website that does that with stickers. I'm trying to remember. I see it on my Facebook feed all the time. Oh, Get Glue. They do that. If you you check into a TV show or something, and you can actually get the physical stickers after a certain point.
Yeah. It seems like, granted, the Steam trading cards thing is not a game unto itself. Like, Magic cards have an actual use in the real world.
Right.
Oh yeah, Sharon laughed.
Sorry, I didn't mean that.
It would be cool to just have actual physical cards and just have them. I don't know. Again, that goes back to me just wanting things that I can hold in my hands. But
something printed with nice ink.
Yeah. Is that so wrong?
No, it's not.
Yeah, no, I feel you there. I would love to have physical cards like that too. And actually, when I first saw this, I before reading about it, I was like, oh, I kind of assumed that they were going to be physical. And then I was slightly disappointed, but then still,
they're still cool.
They're still cool. They got me, the bastards.
You're hooked.
I'm hooked.
I'll have to take a look at it. I don't play many Valve first-party games, but I should take a look at it.
Team Fortress 2 is already my favorite go-to competitive first-person shooter, so basically this just means I'm going to be playing a lot more Team Fortress 2 in the future.
Cool.
Let's see.
What else we got?
Let me just see here. Oh, speaking of Twitch and Let's Play and all that stuff we were talking about, 360 launched an app that you can watch the top... See, now here's the catch. The top 300 channels through your Xbox 360, which means you can sit in your living room and watch Twitch TV, which is very cool. But it has to be one of the... You know, they're not highly ranked in Twitch yet. You probably won't see them. But this is a really good direction, I think, for the marriage between the Xbox and Twitch. Right now you can't stream through your Xbox to Twitch directly. But at least you can start watching. That's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, I guess the top 300 thing is a little limiting, huh?
It is, but if you're into like esports or you like watching lots of League of Legends tournaments and things like that, then that's cool.
So next week, watch the DPod live from your Xbox.
We're like number 299.
Yeah, of course. Sorry?
I made myself sad.
Yeah, it's a little disappointing that I can't I can't log in and pull up my personal list of preferred streamers, because, like when you watch certain channels all the time, they just go to your preferred list, and it's a little disappointing that you can't tap into that through your profile, but like I said, this is a step in the right direction. I know that the PS4 announced a marriage between streamers and gamers, but this is a good indicator that maybe the Xbox team is thinking about that too.
Yeah, and of course you've got the PS4, which has all the streaming built in. Granted, that's not Twitch, that's Ustream.
Yeah.
I guess, so what have you. Yeah, I guess it's cool. I just wish you weren't stuck with the top 300. Like that pretty much rules out. Like you're going into that as a spectator, not as a streamer.
Right. But even still, it also brings eyes to parts of the gaming community that maybe were not exposed off of the PC before, right?
Yeah, that's true.
It's just, when I think of the top 300 streamers, I'm thinking of big sites that do streams, and I'm thinking of esports and League of Legends, and that's it.
Yeah, but I mean, your esports itself has a very specific audience, and it's usually other esports people. So when you start to broaden that audience, you start to broaden the understanding of it, and maybe bridge a couple of gaps there. So, like I said, I'm optimistic about it. Even though it is slightly limiting news, it's still good news.
I guess.
It is, damn it. It's good news.
Well, it's funny, though, because now I'm thinking, okay, I have a 360, I'm going to go watch some Dota. Like,
maybe
360 people don't mix with Dota people. We're like it's like scorpions and ants.
remember that gap I was talking about bridging?
Do you remember Honey, I Shrunk the Kids? Dude, that scorpion totally wrecked that ant.
What? A lot of people stream the Calls of Duties too. So
yes. Yeah.
Yeah, but are they in the top 300?
Probably. 300's a lot.
Yeah.
I suppose.
I think you'll find that. I mean, you speedrun, right? So you know that a passionate community is passionate, and when you start to expose other people to that community, it's only good for the community.
My big thing is that the passionate community of Dota, on the Venn diagram of video games,
but you're being judgmental.
The circle that includes Dota does not include the circle that is Xbox Live.
I don't know.
So in the top 10 games being streamed as we talk right now on Twitch, Call of Duty Black Ops 2 and Grand Theft Auto Vice City. So there you go.
Yeah.
Vice City.
Yeah. There must be someone really big.
But
there's a big Vice City race going on right now.
We'll see. Anyway, the app is launching, I think, this week, and actually it might already be launched. Actually, it is. So it's already launched, which means it's probably going to be built into the next-gen stuff as well. And hopefully, it will continue to develop, and one day we'll be able to stream right to Twitch.
Good.
Hopefully. That's very wishful thinking on my part, but that'd be awesome.
Cool. I guess. I know I'm probably, like I have a tendency to generalize, and I know I do that a lot, but I still think that the Twitch viewer base is completely different, especially in the top 300, than the Xbox Live crew.
But it doesn't need to be. Like, we're all one big happy gaming family. We all love video games.
But we don't all love the same video games.
Yeah, I know, but maybe you don't love X because you're only exposed to Y.
That's because Y is awesome.
Oh, come on.
Nick only loves X because he's old.
All right, let's just
Y
move on then.
is my favorite letter of all time.
Let's
right?
crotchety old Nick sit on the lawn with a rake and
hey, yo,
that's ironic.
X was pretty good, but Y was the best letter of all time. Let's move on.
It's ironic because I'm actually a year older, so...
Oh, you're even more crotchety than I am.
All right, let's see. Oh, this is not quite as optimistic. EA has stopped developing games for the Wii U, and
say it ain't so.
It's unfortunate because one of the EA people, I don't know if they actually exploded their Twitter or they just happened to say something and quickly deleted that the Wii U was crap. And this is somebody who works for EA, and that you don't do that. The bottom line is they're not going to be making games for the Wii U anymore because they do not support the hardware
anymore. Like, the system is less than a year out.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, we're done.
The Wii U just got Dreamcasted.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually saw that the same quote on, I think, like Games Industry Biz or something. Where it was a similar quote, and one of the people, I'm trying to find the guy's name here, who said that Nintendo are still operating like it's 1990.
Sad but true.
Bob Somerville, who has very strong opinions apparently, is not afraid to share them. Yeah, they should have done a Sega and offered a Mario, Zelda, and PS4 Durango exclusives. Instead, they make this awful console, is what he says.
Man.
Yeah.
That is rough.
So...
rough. Well, think about, like, before the Wii U came out, they were talking about how they were finally on par with the other consoles in terms of graphics, fidelity, and how they'd finally get all the exclusives at the same time, and that did not materialize at all.
No.
Like, not even in the slightest. Oh, man.
I know I didn't. I know, Nick, you didn't. But, Nick, did you get a Wii U?
No, but I really
thought about
burningly wanted one.
Okay.
Wanted?
For a long... Yeah.
Past
tense, I'd say. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, at this point, I'm going to have one when, like the Dreamcast, they're $35.
Yeah.
In the local used stuff store.
So you mean in July?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, okay, so what do you think Nintendo has for E3 then? If it's not, are they just going to keep pushing this, even though, E's backed out, and it seems as though it's not getting the momentum it wants? How do you re-spark interest in a console like this?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I guess they have people who they hire to do that.
Yeah.
They're probably getting a cardboard box ready.
What?
They probably won't be in business much longer.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I mean, I'm not saying Nintendo's going out of business. Don't get me wrong. That's never going to happen. But the Wii U certainly does. It has a certain dead on arrival feeling that no Nintendo, like, let me compare this to the DS launch. Like, not the 3DS, but the original DS. That came out in November of 2004, and there was nothing for it. No games for that, unless you wanted to play Ping Pals. Like, there was nothing going on for the DS until August.
Oh man, Ping Pals.
Yeah, Ping Pals. I think it was August of 2005. It was like a solid 9 months before anything came out for that system. And we all know how the DS turned out. That system went on to be extremely popular. Love my DS. Still love my DS. But there's some, like, certain feeling, some je ne sais quoi, dead on arrival feeling of the Wii U that like feels like it's beyond help at this point. Like it's just buried so far underground that no amount of digging will ever find the hope it needs to recover. And
it makes me really happy that you just said je ne sais quoi, and I'm going to take responsibility for introducing that to your vocabulary.
It's just very. There's something about the Wii U that seems like I'm watching this video that we're playing. This is the I believe this is part of the E3 trailer from last year. If you're watching our videocast, and it's tooting all these great functions like video talking with people, and sharing photos on screens. And I can't believe I didn't see it originally when this was announced, because this is all straight up bullshit.
Yeah, but this always was bullshit. Like, the kind of features they announced at E3 last year were the kind of thing that we're saying, this is a console for you because you don't want your stupid girlfriend to interrupt your gaming. Like, that's sort of how I felt about it last year. It was like, here's some gimmicky stuff, and the biggest feature is that you can walk away from the TV when your girlfriend starts watching Grey's Anatomy. Like, that just seemed to be what it was, and I felt, I don't know, I was always kind of frustrated with the way that it was pushed last year.
Yeah, it's just, I guess, to me, like, you can retrospectively look back at any E3 from any company and find a bunch of like featurettes that are meant to be like huge and then end up completely falling flat.
Yeah.
Like,
everybody remember the vitality sensor?
I remember it, but no one's ever seen it before.
It will surprise you in ways that will excite you.
I can't believe you remember the quote. That's pretty impressive, actually.
Actually, I think I got it wrong a little bit.
Well, that's okay. We won't tell.
Yeah, like even thinking back on Microsoft and how they spent almost an entire press conference tooting how awesome Facebook and Twitter would be on Xbox Live, which do not exist on Xbox Live anymore because they were so unpopular and unused. I mean, I feel like that's kind of the entire set of Wii U features, and I use the word features very light. I mean, we're talking about video chatting from Wii U to Wii U. Dude, I got a phone that can do that.
Well, all I know is that at E3 this year, I'm hoping Nintendo will focus on building its library for the 3DS and stay away from console talk.
Yeah.
If they stay completely away from console talk, though, it'll basically be saying they've given up on the Wii U, and I don't think they can do that, especially how much money they poured into it.
Yeah.
Their stock would crash through the ground. Even lower than the Wii U.
Let's see what else I got here for you.
It's rough out there, Nintendo fans. Stay vigilant. But I do not hate Nintendo, but their decisions for console making have certainly made me question their validity as a top-performing company in this industry. Scary.
Yeah. Well.
What else you got?
I only have one little thing, and it's for social gamers, because I know you are both real big into social gaming.
Dude, I dig me some Zynga.
Yeah, and this is exactly directed at people who enjoy games like Zynga, and I always make fun, but then I go out and grab the iPad and play Bejeweled Blitz for 3 hours. So I have to.
All these fun games with like battleships and little Lego guys running around, and like the communists come in and kill them all, and then you build your army. It's social. Social. You want to build a farm with me?
The news that I put in here was that
I'll buy you a horse.
The Google Social Network, which I'm quite familiar with, Google Plus is no longer supporting social games at all. As of the end of June, there will be no more games to play. You'll have to go to Facebook or I guess the developer sites to play these games. So
the news here for me was that Google Plus had games.
See, now, one of the great things about Google Plus in terms of using it as an alternate social network to Facebook or, I don't know, MySpace or whatever other crap people are using these days, is that when you don't want to see the games, you don't have to. Unfortunately, it means that nobody was looking at the games because they're no longer going to be supported. So
I wonder if that was reactionary to no one looking at the games, or maybe, like, this is going to sound pretty bad, the Google Plus people are too uppity to care about the games. Like, they came to Google to get away from the games, right?
That could be.
Dude, I was on Facebook and I kept getting like responses to like people playing fucking Candy Crush Saga, and it's like Bubble Witch Saga and Farmville and SimCity Social and Villeville and Assville, and I don't want to play any of your Villes, so I'm going to Google Plus.
Well, I don't know. I just think it was a happy side effect of using that network.
Happy side effect.
Yeah.
I wonder how Zynga feels about this.
Oh, they don't care. They get their fingers in all the social pots. And they're ripping everyone off. They don't care. But yeah, so if you want to play these types of games, it'll have to be on your mobile device or on your Facebook.
You'll have to go to Facebook if you have enough energy left for the day.
Yeah. Oh, damn, I need 2 energy to sleep and I only have 1.
Man, I'm stuck on Google Plus. I gotta wait till tomorrow to go to Facebook. Unless I pay $5 to get more energy.
But you know what? People play these social games. I see it all the time. So, I mean, people must be playing them.
Yeah. People eat that shit up.
There is a market for it. It just doesn't happen to be. Again, I say it and then I'm going to go and open up and play Rainbow Unicorn Attack 2. I don't know.
Man, I'm not going to eat it up if Zynga keeps sticking its fingers in it.
Yeah,
damn it, Zynga, stop that. Those are for the guests.
We can't take you anywhere. God damn it.
That's gross. Did you even wash your hands, Zynga?
Have you been playing with your pet horse again?
Oh. And who keeps leaving this barn door open? Alright. So, that's pretty much all we've got for news this week. Like I said, there's some layoffs you can look up, but I don't want to talk about them this week.
Yeah. If layoffs get you up, then by all means, look it up.
And there's a lot of discussion about profits and projected stuff for Nintendo, so there's lots of talk about that as well around the interwebs that you can also look up. But again, it's kind of depressing, so we decided to skip it.
Good.
In favor of finding out what's coming up this week.
What's coming up? We got our impending spending segment.
What am I going to spend my money on this week?
Oh, Sharon. Well, actually, there are quite a few things coming out this week. So, first of all, did you know they're still making Ratchet & Clank games?
Oh.
Like games. I think we heard about a movie coming out. We talked about that a couple podcasts ago. There is a Vita game coming out, which is a Ratchet & Clank game. Don't think Insomniac has anything to do with it, so it'll probably not be as good. But
I like Ratchet & Clank.
Yeah. Throwing those Vita folks a bone. That's a good one. Resident Evil Revelations. Coming out for all systems. Anyone know anything about this? I am not a Resident Evil person.
That was a early 3DS game.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ported to 360, PS3, and Wii U? And PC?
Wow.
Yep.
Okay. That seems like a bad idea. Or, let's rephrase. That seems like a cash-in. So, yeah, that's coming out. That'll be out on Tuesday. There is a Fast and the Furious game coming out, no doubt timed perfectly with Fast and Furious 6.
Oh man, I can't believe they're still making those.
That is also coming out for pretty much everything. I am not sure if you get to play as Vin Diesel in that. I guess it doesn't really matter. What else is coming? Grid 2 is coming out.
Grid 2? Isn't that already a thing?
No, because...
I'm thinking of Dirt 2.
Yeah, it's a Codemasters joint. Grid 2...
I made the same mistake.
Yeah, Dirt is their rally racing.
Yes,
and Grid, I believe, is their... what do you want to call it? Drift racing, I guess. Is probably the best way to explain Grid.
Yep.
Grid 2 coming out.
Codemasters always does a really good job, though. If you're into cars, they do a good job of representing.
has had racing on lockdown for a long time.
Yeah, they're good.
That game will probably be quality. There is a new Call of Juarez game coming out.
Oh.
This is actually just for PC and the PS3 network. I think it might be coming out for Xbox Live, if it hasn't already come out for Xbox Live. I think it's a $20 Call of Juarez game, just in case you're the one person who's still totally into Call of Juarez.
Aww.
I just like saying Call of Juarez. What else came out? We've got Mugen Souls, which is a Nick game, as in Nick as in me.
I totally have no idea what that is.
It's a Nipponichi joint.
Oh, of course.
NIS, the makers of such fine games of Hyperdimension Neptunia, Disgaea, Trinity Universe, and all of the girly Atelier games, which are yes, all anime girls running around.
Great.
Yeah. Mugen Souls, apparently they got one of the lead designers from Disgaea to do all the character design. So it's very distinctive, but my guess is that game will be a steaming pile of poop. So there you go. What else is coming out this week? Donkey Kong Country Returns 3D for the 3DS. I only just found out about this game when I saw a commercial for it yesterday. Do we have any Donkey Kong Country folks here on the podcast?
I mean, I loved old Donkey Kong Country games when I was a kid. I don't think they've held up super well.
All the pre-rendered stuff kind of turn you off these days.
Yeah, well, but also just the game itself is just a little, I don't know. There's some good bits, but they're overall they're just not remarkable, I guess. They're
totally missed that whole series. I didn't play any of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they're solid, well-made platformers, but they don't really bring a whole lot to the table, I guess. But anyways, I always heard that so this is a 3D or a 3DS port of a Wii game, and I always heard that Wii game was actually really great.
Huh. Okay.
I own it. I've never even popped it in and played it once.
Oops.
Partially because the Wii game has mapped the ground. You can do a ground pound move in those games, and to do it in the Wii game, you have to waggle the Wii remote.
Yeah.
For some stupid reason. So I'm actually seriously considering picking this game up so I can just play this game without waggle.
Without waggling, you're wiggling.
Yeah, because I can dig a good 2D platformer.
Yeah.
But I
will not waggle.
Yeah, I refuse to waggle.
As per usual Nintendo standards with their games, that actually will not be out until the following Friday.
Oh.
So we still got a few days to wait on that one. Also coming out next Friday, just as a note, Dust: An Elysian Tale, which was an Xbox Live Arcade game last summer, which for whatever reason I totally skipped, but did not mean to, is coming out to PC this week.
That's a really good game,
yeah,
and I think you would like it a lot.
I will not miss it a second time. So, yeah, that's your new releases for the week. That's actually more new releases than we've had in a long time. So,
good.
That's saying something. That's pretty much gonna do it for the podcast.
All right. Well, that's great.
Sharon, would you like to close us out here?
Sure. Well, I want to make sure that everyone goes to visit us at www.fromthedpad.com. If you were joining us for the live videocast on Saturday at 2, we will try to maintain this schedule, so you will also be able to find us here at Twitch TV. You'll find us on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter. We are on Google Plus as well. And big thank you to... Well, Jeremy's not here today, but a big thank you to Nick for joining us. You can find Nick's videos at p1lp2.com. And, yeah, that's going to do it.
Cool. You can email us, nick@fromthedpad.com, Sharon @fromthedpad.com. We will answer any questions you have. Probably not on the podcast, though, because we never get any questions.
So yeah, we'll record live Saturdays at 2. We will post the audio file for your RSS feeds and so on Mondays.
Mondays, usually around 10 a.m.
Yep.
So that's how it works. We'll also have an archived version of the videocast if you so desire to watch that. That will also be available on Monday at 10, unless, you look more carefully. That's going to do it for the podcast. Any closing comments?
Holy pressure. No.
Video games.
Video games.
Yay.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Hopefully we'll be back with more super fun, awesome talking and super fun, awesome videoing and other super fun, awesome things.